Hey everyone, today we're going to be opening up this 70-year-old can of milk, Lactogen by Nestle. And it even has a date of production on it from 1953. This was packaged in May 1953, a full 70 years in this can. To be exact, it's now been 72 years since this was packaged. It's in a little bit of rough shape. Why is it so rusty? We've opened packages in mint condition, even dating back to the 1900s. And yeah, we've opened ones that have been so bad, they've had holes rusted through it. So this is not in the worst we've ever seen, but it was not kept in good condition. So what does that mean for the product inside? Is it going to be good? We opened milk up not too long ago from the 1960s, and it was awesome. I actually loved it. I never had powdered milk in my life, but that really changed my opinion. I thought it would have been a gross product. I know powdered milk has a reputation of being a poverty food and stuff, but you can add as much powder as you want and you can make it super creamy. It was yummy. I enjoyed drinking many glasses of that 1960s powdered milk, but this is 1950s powdered milk. Is it going to taste good? It's all about, did moisture manage to get away in here? It's got tons and tons of pitting, surface rust, but by looking at it, I don't think moisture ever got into it. If I shake it, to me, it sounds like there's something in there with the milk. It may have turned to chunks, that might be what I'm hearing, but back in the day, they used to even put paper instructions in a jar with the powder. I guess in the case the outside got destroyed, you'd have instructions inside it. We found that in a lot of old products, like a paper inside it. I don't think that's even allowed these days in the United States. I could be wrong, but I know that the United States has even banned those chocolate eggs with a toy inside it. You're not allowed to put anything in food anymore here. It's stupid. It's because of people lacking common sense, or maybe a little kid might eat the toy thinking it's also part of the food, but then again, it's just a lack of common sense on the parents. But it sounds like something's in here, and I'm very curious about that. So we're going to break this key off, put it on here. Hopefully that tab doesn't break. It's extremely rusty, but I'll give you guys a close-up look at this can, then we're going to get to making. All right, up close. To me, it sounds like there's something in there, but it could just be the milk clumping together, or even the milk rubbing against rust on the edges of the can. Something in there sounds like it's causing friction, not necessarily just powder in there. Could be wrong, it just doesn't sound normal. Net weight, 2.5 pounds. Lactogen by Nestle. They even had the similar logo back then, if you can see it among all the rust, the birds in the nest. I'm going to make sure this focuses as well as it can. You may have trouble reading it because of the severe rust. At least the instructions on the outside are intact. So we're going to use 16 tablespoons in 32 fluid ounces of water. We're going to make this milk, and apparently by reading this, you can use it as a substitute for formula. And there's the date of production. I don't know if that's the serial number over there of the exact container. Might be. That's probably the lot number. I doubt it's the specific can, but they usually track lot numbers. Everything, even these days, has that. In case there's a recall, you know which ones to throw out. Back in the day, products were also sealed with lead. Up until the early 90s, that lead solder was banned. But in a dry product, that's not a concern. If it's a wet product, it would leach into the food, but it being powdered, it doesn't really have a way of leaching into it. Some of it might rub off, but that's very minimal and it's not going to cause you harm. It even had a bit of nutrition facts. Also, the date is unusual for back in these days. On a product like this, usually does have it, but seeing a production date, you don't always see that from back in the day. But yeah, it sounds like something's in here, and getting back to what I just said, when I was in Canada a few weeks ago, for the first time in my life, I tried one of those chocolate, I think they're called Kinder eggs. You break it open and there's a little plastic toy in there. So inside, it wasn't just a plastic toy. It was a disassembled plastic toy that I had to snap together. So it was a bunch of really small pieces. So yeah, I can see how people here in the sensitive United States would be concerned about that. Being irresponsible, handing that to a little child who eats the tiny little plastic parts in there that are disassembled. Yeah, I can see. But I had to buy one since it's banned here. Just wanted to try one. All right, let's open this up. I'm pulling my stool up so I can sit right here. You don't know how bad I want this product to have held up like when we opened 1960s milk. The 1960s milk was so good I preserved it in mason jars because we can use that when we cook up old recipes so it can be more genuine. Like the other day, I used the 1960s milk to make other products from back in the day. Someone told me that would make the videos more genuine, but until recently I wasn't able to find these type of things, but I was. And this one right here, if we can make this, I have a milkshake packet from the 1950s also. I want to use this to make that milkshake, assuming this held up. So, here we go. That's so rusty. Yeah, just the roughness on there. It's like I'm touching an old rusty vehicle or something I found in the woods. So here we go. Here's a little tab. I'm going to pull that out. Good. It's not that rusted. It's just surface rusted, so shouldn't have an issue. All right, here we go. Now we're going to expose it to air for the first time in 72 years. Is there going to be a suck? Is there going to be a hiss coming out? We're going to find out. Yeah, just notice the dents all over this can. This thing is severely dented. This thing has been through a lot. Here we go. Oh, it was under vacuum. Despite the dents, it still had a vacuum in it. And look at that. Look how shiny that is right there. That is already an awesome sign. This gives me hope that this is going to hold up. I gotta be careful not to mess up the key. These are hard to get back on track if you don't do it perfectly even. Look at all the rust falling down onto my hand and down onto the table. I'll show you that in just a moment. Good amount of it falling. Okay. It's already starting to get a little off track. Just getting a little distracted by the rust. Okay. Almost there. Yep, here we go. We've hit the end. Got all that rust. Look at all of that rust all over the table. Time to open it up for the very first time. Yep. Wow, looks perfect. Look at that. It's shiny as a mirror in there. Let's give that a sniff. Can already tell you it held up. 100% held up. I don't even have to taste it. I can just tell by the smell. Because this smells exactly the same as the 1960s milk. The 1960s milk was about 15 years newer than this, but it smells the same. I'm going to compare it the exact same way. It smells like the white cheese Annie's mac and cheese. That's what it smells like. It smells like the powder. And if you see back here behind those vintage beer cans in those mason jars, that is what I have preserved there. The 1960s milk, which came out of this container over here. That was in a bit better of condition. It just has some water stains because it's a paper label. Not really any rust on the can. But this does not have a paper label. That's just very, very rusty. But it held up. And we're going to put this one in mason jars too. And we'll use it in the future. All right, let's go get some water. Let's go get a measuring spoon. and grab a few of those glasses from up there. All right, everyone. So it tells me to use 16 tablespoons with 32 ounces of water. So I'm going to use this 2 tablespoon just to make it faster. So we need 8 of these, level it says, with 32 ounces, which is the top of this. We'll go get the water in a minute because I don't want to make a mess in here. So I'm going to do the powdered stuff first. I'm going to measure this out. So we're going to put 4 of these in each glass. I'm going to go grab 2 glasses right up above my head. So we're going to put 4 of them in each of these, and then we'll divide the water afterwards. Oh. What is this? I didn't notice that earlier. Remember I said there was something, it sounded like there was something in here? This is probably what I was hearing when I said it sounded like there was a paper or something in here. All right, back to what we were doing. Oh, there's something else in here. It came with a measuring spoon. It's packed in there a bit. There we go. It came with a little tiny spoon. All right. I guess we got to use that since it came with one. So that's what we were hearing banging around in there. I guess that piece of paper was to stop this from hitting the inside and causing rust. Because over time, if this was metal on metal, it would have caused rust and it would have caused a weak point. Not that most people were buying this to save it like this. Despite the little bit of chunks in here, that's not going to be a problem. So we got to put 8 in each. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a little fly buzzing around that likes the smell of the cheese. Yeah, get out of here, fly. I'm trying to make these as level as possible. It's kind of difficult with some of the chunks. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you might see it's not level, but there's also a big hole there, see, that I'm compensating for. All right, we're good. Look how shiny that measuring cup is for all these years. It's not very strong though, it's very thin metal. I even slightly bent the handle just digging in there. So now we're gonna preserve the rest of this in a few mason jars. It might fit in 4, I think. And I'm going to write on the top of the mason jars that it's the 1950s milk so we don't get it confused. Although I don't think I would get it confused. The 1960s milk I have over there is pure white. This has like a yellow tint to it for some reason. All right, time to fill them up. The chunks are making it a little difficult. Because it's sticking together, then suddenly just collapsing like a landslide. Yeah, this isn't going to fit in these. I got to open another box of mason jars. Maybe I should just use the spoon to get it out. That's probably better. Takes longer, but probably better. The funnel trick usually works, but this is kind of sticking together. It kind of settled together, I should say. It's not sticking together, it's settling together. Now I can even pack it a little bit with this. Yeah. For anyone who's going to say why I'm not adding like a moisture absorber in here, I don't think I really need to. This room is only 20% humidity. We got the wood stove running in here. Oh, I just noticed that too. Look how nicely things were packaged back in the day. All right, now that I'm compacting, yes, it'll actually fit in these 4 jars. Look at that. All done. And a piece of paper at the bottom. Now I got to take my finger, go around each one, wipe off the powder. If I don't do this, the rubber gasket won't get a good seal. I just wrote 1953 on each one. If I ever repurpose these jars in the future after using this up, alcohol will take that right off. Now it's time for cleanup before we make this. Because if we add water to this, it's going to make this mess so much worse. This is heading over with me to the sink to be cleaned. And we're going to have to collect some water over there. All right, everyone, over into the bathroom. Wash my hands off in the water. The reason my basement sink is already filled with water is because sometimes if I'm working in this room and I feel cold, I just fill the sink with hot water, and it actually makes the room feel nice pretty quickly. Then I don't have to turn the whole furnace on just to get one room. We're going to feed this powdered milk to the whirlpool. While you're watching the whirlpool, I'm going to run in the other room and get those cans. And I'm back. I like how the whirlpool's actually breaking some of the chunks apart. Come on, I want to see that big piece fall down and break in there. I don't think it's going to get the chance. Nope. Alright everyone, here's a replay of a few exciting parts. Just look at the bottom of the water. You see that? Look at the silt. Yeah, I have really hard water in my house coming from the well, and when you let water sit, the minerals settle out of it. There's a lot of silt in my water, and I kind of like how some of these pieces, look at that, look how it just fell apart. The whirlpool's kind of breaking it up, and look at this. Boom, as soon as the surface tension breaks. Kind of cool. Alright everyone, now that we've cleaned everything, let's get the amount of water we need all the way up to that 4-cup line. And let's go back in the other room and make the milk. Wow, look at this. Look how clean it is on the inside. You can also see the dents really clearly. The outside was super rusty looking. That's why I dried it off, because if you left it wet with the rust, it would make it even harder to read. That's why I let it dry really, really quick. Let's make the milk, then we can clean the rest of this stuff up afterwards, just in case I do spill it again during the mixing process. Let's start mixing. I hope we don't lose electricity today or have trees fall over. The wind is super strong. It's been super cold out lately. Today it's actually getting kind of warm. We're supposed to hit 34 degrees today, and within 2 days, I believe on the 20th, we're going to get to -10, so wind comes through when temperatures fluctuate a lot like that. All right, here we go. This is going to take a little bit of time, it looks like. It's not mixing as well as the other milk. Below the surface where it's all floating, it's still semi-clear looking. Just remember, this stuff back in the day doesn't mix as well as modern stuff because new stuff is not as good for you. It's got emulsifiers, stuff that helps it mix, chemicals that stop it from sticking together. How did I manage to get one with less water? When I left the bathroom, we were at 32 ounces, the 4-cup line. I poured it down to the 2-cup line. And the first one, I don't know. Don't know how that happened. Not that it's going to make a difference. I'm going to read this one again while I'm stirring it. Doesn't mention anything about refrigeration. The one from the 60s did. The 60s one recommended I put it in the refrigerator until it got cold, so I did. I tried it warm and I tried it cold, and to my amazement, yeah, the cold one did actually taste a lot better. It somehow became sudsy too. I don't know how long it's going to take to get these chunks out of here, but we might end up having to let this soak for a while. Or that works. Trying to crush it against the edges, all the chunks. The stuff acts as if it's hydrophobic. Alright everyone, I guess this is actually the best we're going to get it. I tried stirring and stirring, and you see, right in the middle of both there's a couple chunks. It's just not going away, and I'm not going to keep stirring this until it goes away. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a try. Well, I was going to go ahead and put this one in the refrigerator to see how good it tastes after 2 hours. Just drank this entire thing. And I was going to try putting this one in the refrigerator to see if it tastes any better, because it did taste better the last time we did an old milk video, but just drank that one. Was going to go up to the refrigerator, and I realized the camera didn't record a single thing, so I guess I got to drink this one for you guys. And it tastes perfect. The little chunks you see in there, I swallow them without even noticing them. I guess they just dissolve immediately. It is good though. This isn't like a strenuous thing I gotta do. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's expired. I'm sure just like these days it would have a best by date. I have big cans of milk here in my basement. They don't expire for 30 years. So that was good. Well, I'm probably the only person who has chugged 4 cups of milk in 5 minutes from the 1950s these days. Well, that was really good. And I plan on making another video actually right now. I'm going to put it in a separate video. We're going to make a milkshake. I have a little packet to make milkshakes from the 1950s, and that'll be in my next video, whether or not it came out really good or not. Yeah, when I put these things down in the dishwasher, just look at the residue it left behind. You see? This is why we use emulsifiers these days. You see that? Just thousands of granules. It just never truly mixed in. Alright, so I'm going to have to, for my next video, make up another one of those glasses. We only need half of it, actually. We only need 2 cups, not 4 cups. So right here is what we got. This is also from the 1950s, so it's perfect to use this milk. I'm so happy this milk held up, so we could also make this product right here. See, very easy instructions. And now this was stored somewhere good for a paper package to hold up that long. It's just quite amazing. And I hope today's video was interesting, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.